Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 4. So in this module, we're just continuing looking at those fiction short stories in the textbook. You'll be just working through some more specific information and topics, aspects of fiction writing, that kind of thing. So we're going to, you'll see some assignments that look a little bit familiar from what we've done before, and we're just trying to move through these ideas. So in this case, we've got point of view, we've got style, tone, and language, and we've got symbol, allegory, and myth are the main chapters we're looking at. So you look back here, you remember we did plot, character, and setting. Those are the kind of basics of fiction, and now we're moving into stuff that's a little bit more difficult to identify, especially things like symbol and tone, because they tend to be a little bit subjective. And so that's why we're going to start studying that. So you'll want to look through the readings and resources before you take the quiz. The quiz just applies to the Module 4 readings. So all of the questions come out of these 3 chapters. Just like with the previous module, I've just selected a few specific readings for you. I think I did, one per chapter. And I try to pick ones that are interesting, ones that I like. But also ones that some of them would be ones that you may have read before. So it's kind of nice to be able to go back through them, especially if you have that background. I also try to pick ones that are by major authors, and then that way, if you have trouble reading the textbook, first of all, I don't know if you noticed this, but you do have that option to have stuff read out loud to you. So if you highlight something, it gives you this little play button, and you can actually hear it read to you, which is really nice, because I don't know about you, but my mind just wanders if I'm reading on a screen and I have a hard time focusing. So that really helps me. But I also picked ones that are a little bit more popular, and so you should, or more well-known, I guess, you should be able to find versions on YouTube where people are just reading them out loud, and so that helps a lot, I think, or even performances of them or whatever. It just helps me to hear it. Then I got some other resources and things like that. If you ever are kind of missing something, like you're like, I wonder if this exists, maybe this would help me, just send me an email. I'll see what I can find for you. We've got a lot of stuff to help students, particularly with reading. If you struggle reading longer sections of text in an online class. So that's the main part of that assignment, is just take the quiz. And then your writing assignment for this module is a discussion board. So I have a page here just about studying symbols. A lot of you probably are familiar with symbolism. I've got a PDF you can look at. I've got a video that's really good. And so that's just kind of add to what's in the textbook. Obviously, the textbook gives you some good discussion of that. And then we're going to do this discussion board. So this is your first major discussion board in the class, something beyond just the introduction. And the idea is, and you'll see this several times, we're going to use discussion board to look at the works in our textbook. And that way you don't have to read every single short story, but by looking over a discussion board like this, you'll get a good sampling of what's in the textbook, and you'll be able to see a lot of variety without having to sit down and read every single one. So the idea is that you'll choose 2 works from the book, and then you want to create a post for each one. I recommend creating a post first with the title of the work that you want to use, and then you can go back in and edit it. So if I say, I want to use Poe's The Cask of Amontillado, which I'm not going to be able to spell. Then I can just, post it like that. And now everybody who sees the discussion board knows that that's the one that I'm going to do. When I'm ready to actually finish my post, these 3 dots right here will allow me to edit my post, and then I can go back in and I can add to, and add in my symbols. So you're looking for symbols. It's a little bit of a symbol hunt, but like I said, symbols are often pretty subjective. So you might see something and think it's a symbol, and somebody else might see it and be like, oh no, that's just a chair. There is technically right and wrong, but there are some symbols that are a little bit more obvious than others. And so sometimes you can kind of work a symbol in there that somebody else might not see. And so the idea is, with your original post, about 250 words, so a good solid paragraph, you're going to give me an explanation of the plot and the characters. So, you know, Cask of Amontillado, we have two main characters. There's the narrator, who is speaking from a first-person perspective, and we have Fortunato, who is the character who's being taken down into the catacombs. His name is Fortunato, right? And then the three symbols from the story and analysis of what you think that they mean or represent. So symbols could show up anywhere: character, setting, objects, actions, everything from the clothes that they wear to what they do. So like when he's down in the catacombs, he's walling the guy up in the it's not a right, is that a verb? Putting the bricks up, bricking the wall up, and so he is you know, trapped down in the catacombs and will be left to expire within that little nook that he's created. That is a symbol, that action of creating that wall with the bricks and literally closing him off. That becomes a symbol within the story, and when you read the story, you'll know why our narrator's maybe a little bit crazy and possibly a little bit of a psychopath, but also part of like his family story and his history and all of that kind of thing. So anyway, you couple of symbols there that you find, and then when you go in, so you're doing that for two different stories, and then when you go in to respond to your peers, you want to find additional symbols. So you're going to agree or disagree with the assessment of the symbol or the meaning of the symbol, which you might agree and then want to add on to. That's fine. And then an additional symbol that they didn't identify, and then what you think the overall theme of the story is. So we're pulling theme in as well. You want to make sure that you're using stories that students have not also put on the discussion board. There should be enough stories for everyone to do too, without having any overlap. So you can only do, every story can only have one person posting about it. So you want to look back through all of the replies first before you claim yours and do your initial post. That's why I recommend, you know, creating your post and then going back in and editing it so nobody steals yours. So want to make sure that you do that, and that you post them separately. If you post them separately, that means that students can respond separately. So that's important. With your responses, you can respond to you know, one that already has a response to it. That's fine. But make sure that you don't have an excessive number for one post. So the more people who respond, the harder it is going to be to find new symbols to discuss. And so this, you know, if you're the fourth person to respond, you're not going to receive credit, that kind of thing. Just make sure that you're counting and being aware of that. So if you have any questions about the unit, let me know. Send me an email. Otherwise, have a great week.